Good morning. Happy Monday. We are live yet again, unexpectedly, but blessed to be here. Thank you so much for joining. We have, hi, Dr. Bullbutter. We have, Trial Live has released a live today that I felt it was important for us. Excuse me. Important for us to share. So I decided to go live while I study. So this is going to be a dual purpose live. So let's get them geared up and get everything ready. Get past their little commercial. Hi, ADHD and Jelly Bean. Hello. Okay. So we have some more jail interviews for Mr. Tellis. But what got me to hop in this morning with this? Supposedly, we have a juror speaking. We'll see. We'll see. So let's get rolling. Let me add the stage. I'm gonna do. Sorry, I have to get everything geared up. But we're going to. We may have seen one or two of these, but we've not seen them all.
All right.
Start.
First off, here, can I have you say your name for me?
I was just
Yeah, I'm Robert Tellis.
talking about with Mr.
All right, Robert. First question here. What is your reaction?
If you don't mind, I'm sorry. My apologies. I know we didn't really kind of get into this. We're kind of jumping into it, but I really, frankly, want to just, if I can, as I've spoken with other folks from the media, I'd like to speak about this domestic violence issue that's come out in the news.
Yeah, what do you have to say about that?
I didn't do it.
So, I've tried to live my life doing good by others. I've always done that. Unfortunately, I have ADHD, and with that,
Oh, really?
comes a kind of a tendency to go overboard when it comes to, eating things, or when I was a little kid, I was fat, and when I got older, when I started drinking, I would drink one drink, but one would turn into a dozen before I knew it. I just would drink until I blacked out, and for a long time. And then, of course, I didn't drink every day. It's on those days where I would drink, I couldn't control myself.
Okay, guys, I need to go pick up my son. He's having a car trouble, but that's okay. And yes, I do have the new Sarah Boone filing. We will go through that when I get back. So we're just going to let this roll. I'll be listening in, but we're just going to let this roll. And I'll be back in about 15 minutes. I got to go get my boy.
If I had one, I had to have a dozen, and I'd black out not knowing what I did the next day. And, I tried to tame it. I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to be like people who could have one or two drinks and not black out. And so I did that for quite a bit of my adult life. So whenever I'd go out to functions or whatever, I would, unfortunately, by the time I got home, I'd be blacked out. And regretfully, one night a couple of years ago, when I blacked out, it scared my wife and it scared my kids. I didn't hurt them, but I scared them enough to call the police on me. And after that day, I stopped drinking. I said, I'm not perfect, and I just wanted to try to, I just want to try to do my best and be the best person I can be. And so I just wanted to explain what occurred with that domestic violence charge.
Yeah, that night in 2020. Since then, how was your relationship with your wife since that point?
It's good. It's good. We're talking every day. I've frankly, we actually had plans for the whole family to go to Life is Beautiful this weekend. we had the tickets for the five of us. We have a great relationship. She forgave me for that, and things were going well.
Well,
We're still close, me and my wife and I.
So what do you have to say for the charge you're facing now?
And unfortunately, I can't comment on it, obviously, given that it's ongoing, and I hope you understand.
Are you able to talk about you and your wife now? You guys work together?
Again, we have a wonderful relationship. I mean, obviously, things are a little difficult here with respect to working together per se, but we love each other very much. And
well, how would you describe your relationship with Gehrman?
I didn't have a relationship with Mr. Gehrman per se, so.
Did you ever try to work with him on any stories in the past?
No, sir.
I guess DNA evidence and certain evidence found at your home, linked you to this. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't comment on the case. I'm sorry.
Have you talked with your wife since you've been arrested?
Yes, I have.
And what are you able to say what you've told her?
Again, obviously I love her, and just talking about family.
What would you say to those past allegations of a hostile work environment and sexual misconduct in the workplace?
I've laid all that out on the website. It's false, and the work that we did in that office was very important, very good. We did have a lot of accomplishments. We were able to change laws to support families in probate. The office was running very, very well, and unfortunately, there were some folks who just weren't happy with the changes because it affected their pocketbooks, and it's unfortunate the way that things went down.
Did you murder Jeff Gehrman?
Again, sir, I cannot comment on the case in any respect whatsoever, sir.
What was your role at the county? What was your day-to-day job?
As a probate administrator for probates where families are not stepping in, either because they haven't been found or because they'd like for us to handle those cases for them.
Are you aware that Rita Reed did an interview with ABC?
I've heard, but again, I wouldn't have any comment on it.
So no reaction to Rita Reed talking to ABC about this whole situation?
No.
Is there anything you want people to know about you?
It's just really, again, that I am someone who is human. I've all my life tried to do great work for people. I used to volunteer, donate, and just generally try to help anybody who needed my help. And so that's who I am. If anyone wants to believe otherwise, that's their choice, but I'm just somebody who's trying to do his best to be a good person.
What is your reaction to this whole thing? I mean, you being arrested, these allegations you're now facing. What is your reaction to this and Gehrman's murder, and just in general?
Again, I really can't comment on it.
Sorry.
You talk about the plea guilty.
Oh, that was not me.
No, I'm sorry.
Do you have any message today for your family?
They know that I love them very much, and my friends as well. That's pretty much what the message is. That I do love them so very much.
What was your initial reaction to hearing about Jeff Gehrman being murdered?
Again, I unfortunately can't comment on it.
You can't mention anything about Gehrman whatsoever?
Right.
Have you worked with him at all in the past? And on any stories in general? With those previous stories that he had published, obviously you read them and you tweeted about them and everything, and you obviously had a reaction from them, thinking he was going through your trash at some point. What do you say about all of that?
Again, my apologies, but I really can't comment on it.
So that 2020 domestic violence, we just saw the body camera footage yesterday, and it appeared that you were arguing with police and intoxicated, and you did face a resisting arrest. What is your reaction knowing that body cam footage is now out there and people are seeing the actions that happened in it?
Again, I frankly hadn't seen it. I don't know what I was doing. I blacked out. So I was not in control. I don't know medically, scientifically, what exactly was in control, but I was not conscious. And I think people who have drinking problems understand what I'm talking about. I don't know that someone like yourself has ever experienced it, but frankly, honestly, the first that I heard about my actions with the police was here today, with an earlier news station. So I had no idea the extent of what had happened, and again, that is obviously one of the reasons that I quit drinking.
Yeah, talk about that. You said you quit drinking. Have you not drank since then, or do you drink a little bit, or what's that? What's your relationship like with alcohol?
I don't have one. My wife and I had a flute of champagne for our anniversary, but I don't drink anymore. Again, the costs were just, and the risks were too high.
Do you know what happens with your position now at the county?
I do not.
Have you been in talks with the county at all about what's next?
I have not.
So at the county, is someone else overseeing your job, or do you know anything about that, or has that kind of been pushed to the side?
The work is ongoing. Absolutely.
Are you able to do any of the work from there, or is it all no longer working on it?
I don't know if I'm not sure. That anyone's interested in any of that. Frankly, I'm sorry.
I just, for the record, I mean, so you basically don't want to comment at all on the charge you're facing now and why you're in jail.
Correct. Again, I don't know if I'm sure you understand that obviously there are, while this thing is working its way through the legal process, it's, I can't comment.
I mean, is there anything that you want the public to know, though? I mean, we're here talking to you, and I'm sure that...
No, I understand. And again, like I said, I've made my statement, and I hope you understand, again, I know that, I've got to take the advice of attorneys and just not speak about the situation,
Yeah. All right. So what is your, moving forward, can you talk about your plans in court Tuesday?
No, I cannot. I'm sorry.
Is there anything you want anybody to know about where you might have been when this happened for the Garmin?
Again, I can't comment. I'm sorry.
Do you? I don't know if you can comment on this, but do you think that the motives? Can you see why these motives kind of put you in this position? The police kind of say about these articles and such.
Yeah, no, it's the same again. I'm sorry, I can't comment.
Anything else you want anybody to know about you and the situation or anything?
No, sir, thank you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patience.
All right, this is your last chance to say anything with us.
No, I understand. I, again, just wanted folks to know that, again, I'm just a guy who's trying to do his best.
So you can't answer whether or not you had murdered Jeff Garmin?
I, again, cannot comment on the case. I'm sorry, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
What were those bandages around his arms?
I have you here. I mean, can you talk about Mr. Gehrman's case at all? I understand Channel 8 was just talking to you. What did you discuss with them?
Yeah, no, we just discussed the same thing, the domestic violence issue.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to say if you're going to plead guilty or.
No, unfortunately, again, it's obviously an open case, and you know how these things go. I just can't speak about it.
Okay. Has any of your family come to visit you while you were in jail?
You know, I've absolutely had contact with my family. But, you know, so yes, I've had contact with my family.
Okay. Obviously, this is a pretty big case. Like, a lot of outlets are reporting on this. Is there anything that you would like to say to people or any statement you would like to give?
Again, you know, like any other person, I've certainly made mistakes, and I've just really tried to do my best to live my life doing good for others. And so I'm hoping that, you know, again, with everything that's swirling around in the media these days, that people really see that. And I'm grateful for those who do, my friends, and of course my family, my beautiful wife, and all my family.
I'll see you later.
So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can you comment at all on the tweets you had posted about Jeff Gehrman?
No, again, if you don't mind, I'll just, like I said, we'll kind of leave it at that.
Okay. So is there anything in the reporting about the domestic violence situation that you think was inaccurate?
I frankly haven't read anything. Again, I heard about it through family, and so I just wanted to be sure that everyone knew the circumstances. Unfortunately, at the time I was struggling with alcohol, and that was a wake-up call. And I don't drink anymore, and my wife and I have a much better relationship.
Are you and your wife still together?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay.
Been able to see your children at all?
Have you been able to see your children at all?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I prefer not to answer that, if that's okay.
Okay. I mean, I have to ask, since I have you on the phone, obviously we were listening to the police scanner, and the police have said that you had some self-inflicted injuries when you were arrested. Did you try to harm yourself?
Again, I really can't talk about anything around the case. If you don't mind, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Anything else?
Is there anything else that you would like to say
Do you want to be
then?
in jail right now?
No, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Do you believe that you should be in jail right now?
Again, that's really all related to the case, and I'm sorry.
Okay, I understand. All right. As long as there's nothing else from the story you were giving me earlier, you were just saying that you used to drink a lot and you blacked out when this event happened with your wife and children, and that you didn't harm them. You said that you've stopped drinking since then, right?
Just to clarify, I wasn't drinking every day. It's just those occasions where we'd go out with friends or whatever, and you know, one drink would turn into too many drinks. So it wasn't, you know, again, please try to understand, it was not every single day that these types of things happened. It was occasionally, but unfortunately, that was the one straw.
Right. What was the disagreement or argument about with your wife that day that the conflict happened?
And again, there was no disagreement or argument. what was going on.
Drugs.
Right.
And I think that's probably something that a lot of folks don't, maybe have never been through. And, you know, I think people, you know, obviously who've had drinking problems understand what I'm talking about, but you know, unfortunately, you really can get into states where you are not in control but your body, and I mean, there's almost, I can't even explain it, but, you know, it appeared as though I was awake and knew what was going on, but it was certainly not me. And that was, again, the wake-up call that I needed to stop drinking, and I did.
How long have you been sober for?
Frankly, since that night.
Okay, so you don't drink at all then anymore?
No, I mean, you know, we had a drink at the anniversary, at our anniversary, but no, I don't, you know, I don't drink otherwise, you know.
Do you use any drugs at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, go on.
Oh, I was just asking. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. Go on, please.
Okay, I was asking about the drugs because the police, when they were arresting you, they made a reference over the police scanner to you possibly taking some medication. So I just wanted to clear the record on that.
No, I don't take anything that's not prescribed to me. And I don't take it in any doses that are not prescribed to me.
Okay, understand. Why did you agree to talk to us today?
Again, you know, I certainly wanted to make sure, like, that I know that nobody's heard from me on any of these issues, and while I can't talk about the case, I know that I can talk about, you know, the domestic violence case and what led to that, and what I did to change that.
Do you remember what happened that night?
Not after going out with friends, no, I don't.
Okay, there's.
You know, I remember just waking up in jail the next day.
Okay. There's police body camera footage when you were arrested that night where you're saying, like, I'm a public official. You're just trying to take me down because I'm a public official. Do you remember that happening?
I honestly do not.
Okay. I mean, do you feel in any way that you've been targeted because of your role at the public administration's office?
Not by the, you know, not by the world generally, or by any agency generally, or by the media generally. No.
Okay. There's been a lot of reporting about what you did while you were a public administrator, allegations from employees that it was a toxic work environment, that you had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Do you want to comment on that at all?
I've already, you know, made my comments on that. So no, thank you. I appreciate it though.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to check because I want to have your side of the story on record if you would like to make any statements. So this is your chance to do that.
I understand it, and I posted all that on a website, and you know, again, as I said on the website, it's false. I did so much to improve that office, all while, frankly, dealing with, you know, hostility from some folks in the office, and you know, it's unfortunate that that narrative somehow grew legs and ran, because you know, there's just, we actually did a lot of great work at that office.
What do you mean hostility from people in the office? Do you think people were trying to target you? Like, just what did you mean by that?
Well, you know, again, just folks who were not happy with the changes, folks who were not happy with the fact that I ended up cutting overtime, which in effect cut wages for some folks. But, you know, it's just because we were better at doing what we're doing, so we couldn't justify really doing the overtime. But there were some, I guess, some axes that people just weren't letting go. And, you know, it is, unfortunately, people, I don't know, it is what it is.
Who was not letting go of these axes that you're referring to?
Hello, everybody. I know I stopped it. I apologize. I am trying to get my connections back together with my ears. So sorry. I
Those
hope
are
you
super
guys are
cute
well.
glasses.
Thank you to the new people who've hopped on that I don't
Yeah.
recognize. Oh my gosh, y'all are amazing.
Hi,
Thank you.
Vegas
Thank you so
Vibes.
much for joining.
We've
Waiting
had
for my
some
ears
really
to
cool.
kick in. For those who don't know, I am deaf without my hearing aids, and I need to get my ears synced up with everything. So please give me a momento. That's why it's not working. Unsync there. So I apologize. I had to go and pick up my child, adult child. The car wasn't working and it's pouring down rain here. Yay, we're getting some rain. I'm so excited. Good morning, Sneaky. I
Good
I
morning.
didn't
How
ex-
are you?
I didn't expect you to hop on, but you just a fabulous doll. Thank you so much.
I did. I was sending you an interesting document. I was collaborating with the Truth Fairy this morning. Because the Truth Fairy was working hard. And the Truth Fairy got us something really interesting that I sent to you, and I wanted to come and talk to you about it because it was just so juicy. But I
Oh,
saw that you
okay.
weren't here. And then I was like, oh, well, there are actually a lot of people like watching. And so I figured I would come on and say hi to the people who are here, even though I had just woke up and, don't have the makeups and all the stuffs, because we are really happy when people stop by. So I just decided to kind of do that.
I
And
just saw it. We will talk about that. And I got the newest filing that was filed on Sarah Boone's case, a motion
ain't
for
that a
statement
juicy
of
document?
particular. I haven't read it yet. See,
Oh
I
my gosh,
I
it's
was just
great.
going to come into which document is great, love.
The one I sent you in private chat in Discord.
Oh, well, I'm getting there, but
Okay.
I will look at that while we're listening to all of this.
Okay,
I came
great.
in
Thank
today
you.
thinking no live. I'm going to study. I'm going to get my stuff done. For those of you who don't, hi, Vegas Vibes. For those of you who don't know, I'm a college student and I am studying for criminal justice, and I've got a shit ton of homework to do. So I'm going
I
to be
just need
listening.
to mow the lawn, but it's still too like dewy out, so
Huh?
that's not. I have to mow the lawn, but it's still too dewy out. Like it's still too wet on the lawn, so it's not time for that. And I was like, well, we're gonna come on here, we're gonna see some people, and we're gonna do some things.
Thank
So,
Hello Brit for the gifted membership. Oh my gosh, you are
hello,
so
Britt.
awesome.
You are wonderful.
Yay! I was gonna come here to yell at you about doing your homework when I saw you live.
Oh, Eva, you are so sweet. She wants to make sure you're getting your homework done.
I got it. I got it. I got it here. But yeah, at the same time, I can't help myself. So I will be listening. You may see me in this side view, but I'm here. Okay. I got to go tighten my microphone. So let's get back. Anything else? Let's get back to this and I'll
Nope,
look at everything
just
else.
we'll get back to this and we'll just be saying hi to the people in the chat.
Hi, Lacey Ann. Everybody who's new, thank you for joining.
Luna is from Sweden.
At this point, not by anybody,
Do you plan to keep your position or resign?
But I'd like to just, I guess, move on at this point.
Okay. Do you plan to keep your position or are you planning to resign?
I don't have an answer for you at this time.
Why don't you have an answer? Are you still thinking about it or are you still looking at your options?
Yeah, again, I don't know at this point.
Okay, understood. All right. And then, so you don't want to make any other comments about just your job at the public administrator's office then?
I think there's a lot that people could.
That's amazing, Lacey Ann. Congrats.
Okay, yeah. Is there anything major in Jeff Gehrman's reporting that you dispute still?
Welcome, Donna Berry.
Again,
Everything.
If you don't mind, if you just look to what I had already written, I appreciate it.
Okay. Can you elaborate on all when police had interviewed you before they arrested you? We're trying to clarify if you spoke with police before they arrested you. Did you speak with them?
Again, I can't comment on anything related to the current case.
Okay. Do you know, are you intending to plead not guilty at any point soon?
Again, I can't really comment on the case. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to discuss with me?
No, thank you. I, again, really appreciate the time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for agreeing to talk with me. I appreciate that. Again, just if I understand that you said that you don't want to comment on the case, but if there's any other statement you would like to make, just now is your chance.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
I think we should be good. Thank you for your time, Mr. Tellis.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the clerk will now read the verdict form out loud. The defendant and his attorneys will stand for the reading of the verdict.
District Court, Clark County, Nevada, State of Nevada, Plaintiff versus Robert Tellis, Defendant, Case Number C 368935, Department Number 12, Verdict. We, the jury in the above entitled case, find the defendant, Robert Tellis, as follows: murder with use of a deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older. Guilty of first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older. Special verdict. The jury unanimously finds the murder willful, deliberate, and premeditated. The jury unanimously finds the murder was committed by means of lying in wait. The jury unanimously finds the murder was committed by means of elder abuse. Guilty of first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon. Special verdict. The jury unanimously finds the murder willful, deliberate, premeditated. Do you want me to finish this?
I'm just going to have the attorneys approach for just a moment.
Thank you, Judge.
Because
Okay, I guess we have a moment here. What do y'all think about, and I kind of saw some of the comments, what do you think about him using ADHD
does the state stipulate to
ADHD as an excuse to be an alcoholic? I nearly fell out of my car seat.
So,
I don't have ADHD, so I can't speak on it. Sorry, guys.
neurodivergent people are statistically more likely to abuse drugs or alcohol. However, that is not an excuse for why you do it. Like, that's not like I'm ADHD, so this is why I'm an a-hole. Like, I'm sorry, but that doesn't give you like free reign to be like a huge wad to people and just like get away with it. You know, like, just because I'm autistic doesn't mean that I should be able to blurt anything out to anyone and just be able to get away with it. Like, that's not, I should not be able to get away with that, and that's not something that I think people should be able to call me on, right? So
Right.
it's just yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. By the way, Corina Bowman was gifted the membership, so congratulations. And again, thank you,
Corina
Hello
Bowman.
Brit. Thank you again, Hello Brit,
Thank
for
you,
that
Hello
gifted
Brit.
membership.
And awesome. Karina Bowman has been around a lot lately. So thanks, Karina. That's great.
Well, regardless, he's still responsible for his actions. Yeah, exactly.
Especially, yeah.
Um,
Yes, exactly. And just
I-
because you have those issues or statistically are more likely, that does not give you, it might give you more obstacles, but it does not give you a reason to do things. Like, that is not an excuse. So
It's like,
sorry if
I'm
I sound like I'm making it an excuse, guys. I am not.
No,
I
you're
just-
not. He is.
Yeah.
Well, look, people who know me on this channel know that Miss Sneaky and I are both Native American. She's Scottish Cree or Muskogee, depending on which way you want to name it. I'm Irish Cherokee Cree, and it would be for me to say, oh, because I'm Native American, I drink and I can't help myself. Oh, that's bull crap. I'm not in this long enough to say the real word, but you know what I'm saying. I don't put up with people using their crap as an excuse to get away for bad behavior. There are some people who do have illnesses that they don't know what they're doing, like people who have childhood dementia. Okay, get it. You just see something, you start, okay, whatever. But this is hogwash. Hogwash. Good one, Karina. This is the deepest form of hogwash.
Yes, and there are such things as like intergenerational trauma issues like that with residential schools. We're not talking about that. I do not believe this man has any intergenerational trauma that I know of. He has been in a very privileged life, and so
even his brother got up on the stand and his mom, and they said they had a very good childhood. There has been no mention at any point in time that he did not have a good upbringing with a stable home and does not have that kind of trauma.
So we do try and be very trauma informed here, and just try to be informed of other situations. So we hope everybody does feel comfortable in our chat, and if there's anything that you feel like we should add to that, or that anything that you guys feel should be added to the conversation, please feel free to do that in our chat. We welcome the discourse. But yeah, just thank you, everyone.
Yes, we sure do. And I'm realizing I'm sitting here with no earrings. Oh well. So let's get going on the rest of this. But just wanted to stop and bring that up a minute. I was like, oh, one thing he did say is they didn't have money and he had to help out. But what we mean by privileged is that we mean he did not have to grow up in a lifestyle of abuse and trauma. That kind of privilege. Privilege doesn't always mean money. It's you can be poor but still have a very good upbringing and morals and ethics and all of that. Okay.
And he came from a very political family, so his stratosphere was very privileged, even if he felt like his household wasn't,
At some point in time, they became privileged. It wasn't his entire life that he had to help provide.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
For the presence of the panel, including the alternate juror? Yes, Your Honor. And the defense?
Yes.
Okay, juror number 2, has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you please hand the verdict form back to Mr. Knox? Yes, please.
Thank you. District Court, Clark County, Nevada, the state of Nevada, plaintiff versus Robert Tellis, defendant, case number C-368935, department number 12. Verdict. We, the jury in the above entitled case, having found the defendant, Robert Tellis, guilty of murder of the first degree with use of a deadly weapon, victim 60 years of age or older, impose a sentence of life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with eligibility for parole beginning when a minimum of 20 years has served. Dated at Las Vegas, Nevada, this 28th day of August 2024, signed by foreperson, juror number 2. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this your verdict as read? So say you one, so say you all.
Yes.
Does either side wish to have the panel polled?
No, on behalf of the state.
Mr. Driscoll?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, at this time, the verdict will be recorded in the official record. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to discharge you from your duty as jurors. The record reflects that the hearing is taking place outside the presence of the jury panel. At this time, the matter will be referred to parole and probation, and we will set it for sentencing.
That's going to be October 16th, 8:30 a.m. for sentencing.
Do the attorneys want that opportunity?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll let you know when you
Sure.
come back. Thank you very much.
But
Of course.
why did you agree to do this interview with us today?
Well, again, I understand that folks had a lot of questions, I'm sure, still after the trial. So I wanted to be sure to answer those questions. I think especially a lot of folks are wondering, if I'm innocent or, if I still maintain my innocence. And yes, I am innocent, despite the verdict.
So we understood yesterday they were holding you in a special suicide cell. Is this true?
It's true, but it was not out of any concern that I could.
We may have lost Ada for a moment because it seems like her screen is down and the feed is. Let me see. Let me see if this is live or if I can get it back up or what it was that she was watching. No. Just 1 second, guys.
Wrong, but again, beyond that, there's not much else I can say. I'm focused on trying to prove my innocence and trying to get home.
Did you kill Jeff Gehrman?
I did not, sir. No.
Yeah, and again, your message to his family.
And I'm very sorry for their loss. We've all been through a lot with this situation. And I'm hoping that that they too can, when they move on, and it's a horrible situation all around. We're all suffering for it.
Why did your team decide to go with the narrative versus you being asked questions on the stand? It appeared to me that the jury was never given an explanation for that. And that's what juries expect. They expect the defense team to ask questions. Why did you choose narrative?
Well, I chose a narrative style just because, again, I had so much to say that it would have been so difficult for us to get through it all if we were doing it in a question and answer form. Just like in any, and again, I'm not testifying as an expert witness, but oftentimes when an expert witness testifies, they're given a question and they'll elaborate quite a bit on that one particular question. I had so many particular questions that I wanted to answer that for us to do it in a question and answer form would have just been so tedious. I think we would have lost the jury well before we got halfway through my testimony. So that's why it was a narrative.
Is there anything that you wish you had said that you think could have changed your trial?
I think if perhaps I thought we made it clear that I was home.
Nikki, can you pause?
That SUV drove into my neighborhood.
I'm sorry, you guys. We had no lightning strike, but a big boom. And my internet was down. I'm like, holy crap. I apologize, y'all. So let me catch you up. You're way ahead on the stream here. So I am where we stopped. Okay? So let me bring that up
Bring
live.
it back up, please.
Yeah, I apologize. Sometimes, where did it? Sometimes,
You
guys,
just have to bring yours back up because you
I
can't
am.
control mine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I am. Sometimes, guys, weather can get in the middle of a live stream, as you very well know. We thank you very much for sticking with us, and we're back. Thank you, Sneaky, for covering me.
Yeah,
You're
sorry,
awesome.
Ada. I didn't know where we were.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, we're right there. Okay. You might want to just leave yours up just in case in the background. We do have a bunch of weather, which we normally don't have. You guys can't hear that, can you? Well, now you can.
Again, cannot comment on the case. I'm sorry, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this old or new?
I think this is old.
That's old. Okay, I think they're playing all of their interviews, which is fine because we haven't seen them.
Yeah. And some of the jury interviews are things that we definitely haven't seen.
No, and I don't think they've gotten to that yet. But do you know what?
Here, I mean, can you?
I'm going to say this is very insightful for me, listening to the interviews as they began when he was arrested all the way through now, because it helps give me a history of what he said, how he's saying it, who he's speaking to. I'm shocked that he is speaking to anybody at this point. Anybody. Welcome, RA friends. You are so true. Brian, Jill, Brian. Wow. Oh, what happened? Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
lost our electric.
It's all good.
Yeah, we lost my electric. We have storms rolling through. Normally we don't lose power. We're not sensitive to that, but I guess today we were. So anyway, but I'm appreciating because I've not seen the pre conviction interviews. So thank you guys for joining. Let's play some more.
You talk about Mr. Gehrman's case at all? I understand Channel 8 was just talking to you. What did you discuss with them?
Yeah, no, we just discussed the same thing, the domestic violence issue.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to say if you're going to plead guilty or.
No, unfortunately, again, it's obviously an open case, and you know how these things go. I just can't speak about it.
Okay. Has any of your family come to visit you while you were in jail?
You know, I've absolutely had contact with my family. You know, so yes, I've had contact with my family.
Okay. Obviously, this is a pretty big case. Like, a lot of outlets are reporting on this. Is there anything that you would like to say to people or any statement you would like to give?
Again, you know, like any other person, I've certainly made mistakes, and I've just really tried to do my best to live my life doing good for others. And so I'm hoping that, you know, again, with everything that's swirling around in the media these days, that people really see that. And I'm grateful for those who do, my friends, and of course my family, my beautiful wife, and all my family.
I'll see you later.
So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Can you comment at all on the tweets you had posted about Jeff Gehrman?
No, again, if you don't mind, I'll just, like I said, we'll kind of leave it at that.
Okay. So is there anything in the reporting about the domestic violence situation that you think was inaccurate?
I frankly haven't read anything. Again, I heard about it through family, and so I just wanted to be sure that everyone knew the circumstances. Unfortunately, at the time I was struggling with alcohol, and that was a wake-up call. And I don't drink anymore, and my wife and I have a much better relationship.
Are you and your wife still together?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay.
Been able to see your children at all?
Have you been able to see your children at all?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I prefer not to answer that, if that's okay.
Okay. I mean, I have to ask, since I have you on the phone, obviously we were listening to the police scanner, and the police have said that you had some self-inflicted injuries when you were arrested. Did you try to harm yourself?
Again, I really can't talk about anything around the case. If you don't mind, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Anything else?
Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Do you believe you should be
Then
in jail right now?
No, I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
do you believe that you should be in jail right now?
Again, that's really all related to the case, and I'm sorry.
Okay, I understand. All right. As long as there's nothing else from the story you were giving me earlier, you were just saying that you used to drink a lot and you blacked out when this event happened with your wife and children, and that you didn't harm them. You said that you've stopped drinking since then, right?
Just to clarify, I wasn't drinking every day. It's just those occasions where we'd go out with friends.
I haven't even had breakfast.
One drink would turn into too many drinks. And so it wasn't, again, please try to understand, it was not every single day that these types of things happened. It was occasionally, but unfortunately, that was the one straw.
Right. What was the disagreement or argument about with your wife that day that the conflict happened?
He ain't telling you.
There was no disagreement or argument. It was just me blacking out and, again, not being in control of what was going on.
Right.
And it's probably something that a lot of folks don't, maybe have never been through. And, I think people, obviously who've had drinking problems understand what I'm talking about, but unfortunately, you really can get into states where you are not in control with your body, and there's almost, I can't even explain it, but,
Are you sitting here telling me? Are you telling me that you are disassociating? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me you're disassociating when you drink and you have no control whatsoever at all and no idea what you're doing when you are consuming alcohol. Y'all, do you believe him? Do you believe him? I don't. I don't at all. And I think that no, don't believe it. There is dissociation, but usually that dissociation is not consistent with what he's speaking of. Drug induced, the drug induced stuff is totally different. But him, what he's talking about, no bueno.
it appeared as though I was awake and knew what was going on, but it was certainly not me. And that was, again, the wake-up call that I needed to stop drinking.
Dude, it was you.
How long have you been sober for?
Frankly, since that night.
Oh, that wasn't me. So do you have multiple personality disorder? Is that what you're saying now? Exactly, Jar. Oh. I am fortunate enough that alcohol doesn't agree with me. Puts me to sleep in about a nanosecond. But I will say this. I don't believe his crap because you are still responsible for your behavior, whether you were intoxicated, whether you are sober, not sober, it doesn't matter. You are ultimately responsible for the consequences of your behavior. Many people are in jail because of it. So, exactly. He has DID now? Really? Um, no. And and it just I just want to hear an ounce of responsibility taken from him, even when he tries to choke his wife in a drunken stupor. Let's think about this, and I've said it before. Um, I've said it multiple times. If she had to call the popo on him for this one, how many times did she endure crap from him, i.e., abuse of any kind, and she didn't call the police. She called this time because she felt her life was in danger. So this is not a one-time shot. I don't believe it.
Okay, so you don't drink at all then anymore?
No, I mean, we had a drink at the anniversary, on our anniversary, but no, I don't, I don't drink otherwise,
Do you use any drugs at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, go on.
Oh, I was just asking. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing. Go on, please.
Okay, I was asking about the drugs because the police, when they were arresting you, they made a reference over the police scanner to you possibly taking some medication. So I just wanted to clear the record on that.
No, I don't take anything that's not prescribed to me, and I don't take it in any doses that are not prescribed to me.
Obviously, that day you did.
Okay, understand. Why did you agree to talk to us today?
Again, I certainly wanted to make sure, that I know that nobody's heard from me on any of these issues, and while I can't talk about the case, I know that I can talk about, the domestic violence case and what led to that, and what I did to change that.
Do you remember what happened that night?
Not after going out with friends, no, I don't.
Okay, there's.
I remember just waking up in jail the next day.
Okay. There's police body camera footage when you were arrested that night where you're saying, like, I'm a public official. You're just trying to take me down because I'm a public official. Do you remember that happening?
I honestly do not.
Okay. I mean, do you feel in any way that you've been targeted because of your role at the public administration's office?
Not by the world generally, or by any agency generally, or by the media generally. No.
Okay. There's been a lot of reporting about what you did while you were a public administrator, allegations from employees that it was a toxic work environment, that you had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Do you want to comment on that at all?
I've already, made my comments on that. So no, thank you. I appreciate it though.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to check because I want to have your side of the story on record if you would like to make any statements. So this is your chance to do that.
I understand it, and I posted all that on the website, and again, as I said on the website, it's false. I did so much to improve that office.
Jill and Brian. Jill and Brian, your wish is my command. This is the night they arrested him with a situation with the wife.
I'm not trying to be like. I'm not trying to be. Families in there.
He's drunk. Yep,
All right,
he's drunk.
Here, I'll bring my car up. Don't do anything more stupid than you've already done, please. Oh my God! Why the hell am I? Our cameras are on. Cameras. Can anybody tell me who I hit? Who the hell did I hit? Who did I hit?
Ah, I know I wasn't
'Cause
drunk.
I didn't hit anybody. Who did I hit? Who did I hit? Because I didn't hit anybody. This is like totally like. You guys just want to take me down because I'm a public official. No, we don't. Did I hit? I didn't hit anybody. I didn't touch anybody. You guys just want to take me down because I am a public official. You don't. You just want to take me down because I'm a public official. I did not touch anybody. I haven't hurt anybody. I am just being approached and
A drunken asshole.
like you guys just want to take me down because I'm a public official. That's it. I'm a public official.
I'm sure your supervisors will love to see this bloody damage when they
I'm a
see it.
public official,
Wanna
and
leave it
that's
on?
all
No,
you
it's
want
got
to
a
do
arrowhead
is
on it.
take me down for being a public official.
How
Why
dare you wear an
Why
arrowhead
do
and
you
be
take me
drunk,
down?
dude?
I haven't touched anybody. I haven't hurt anybody.
It looks like it's
This is a civil rights violation. You guys just want to take me down. I haven't touched anybody. This is my home.
Pull
I
it
haven't
over
hurt
the
anybody.
head.
I haven't touched anybody. I love my family. I love my wife. You guys want to take me down. That's all it is. Why are you taking me away from my friggin' house? Why do you have any suspicious?
Sit back.
I'm. What if it costs to take me home? What if it costs to take me?
You're not making any sense right now. Dude,
Do you have any cost to take me?
Brian,
Do you have any cost to take me?
this seatbelt's being stupid.
What does it cost to take
So I
me?
can go to the other side.
Supervisor has arrived.
I haven't touched anyone. I've not touched anyone. I've not touched anyone. I'm just telling you.
This is when he was arrested for DV on the wife.
You too. I haven't touched anyone. I have not touched anyone. I've not touched anyone.
You guys caught me at a red zone too, and I was like, I'm on Town Center, it's basically Sahara.
Hold on.
I heard you guys call this out. They're like, give us a minute. I'm like,
The first year he was in the office, he had.
Oh my God. You asked. I gave it to you. Y'all, this is funny. Well, you can pass the state bar and still be a drunken asshole. And I am using the cursey word on that because there's nothing else I can say that can fit. It is what it is. And that's who he is. So Kilo Charlie Tango, thank you for joining us. Jill Brian W, thank you for joining us. There's a lot of new people. Please leave some DNA, subscribe. We also are going to where is it? Oh, there it is. We've also opened up memberships starting at 99 cents up to $9.99. We are a fairly new channel, and I know a lot of you are from Mr. RA and other people. Thank you so much for joining us. You honor me, and I appreciate you. So we're going to get going some more. By the way, did you hear the video of Tell Us I just showed?
He's a peach. I love how the cops were like, your supervisor's gonna see this.
I am just laughing my butt off.
What do you mean hostility from people in the office? Do you think people were
trying to target you? Like, just what did you mean by that?
Again, just folks who were not happy with the changes, folks who were not happy with the fact that I ended up cutting overtime, which in effect.
I'm tired of hearing him boast about that.
It's just because we were better at doing what we're doing, so we couldn't justify really doing the overtime. But there were some axes that people just weren't letting go, and it is unfortunately people. I don't know. It is what it is.
Who was not letting go of these axes that you're referring to?
I won't get specific. Again, I think there's already been a lot of harm that's been done at this point, not by anybody.
Do you plan to keep your position or resign?
But I'd like to just, I guess, move on at this point.
Okay. Do you plan to keep your position, or are you planning to resign?
I don't have an answer for you at this time.
Why don't you have an answer? Are you still thinking about it, or are you still looking at your options?
Yeah, again, I don't know at this point.
Okay, understood. All right. And then, so you don't want to make any other comments about just your job at the public administrator's office then?
No, I think there's a lot that people could.
That's on their end, not mine.
Okay, yeah. Is there anything major in Jeff Gehrman's reporting that you dispute still?
Again, if you don't mind if you just look to what I had already written, I appreciate it.
Okay. Can you elaborate on all when police had interviewed you before they arrested you? We're trying to clarify if you spoke with police before they arrested you. Did you speak with them?
Again, I can't comment on anything related to the current case.
Okay. Do you know, are you intending to plead not guilty at any point soon?
Again, I can't really comment on the case. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to discuss with me?
No, thank you. I, again, really appreciate the time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for agreeing to talk with me. I appreciate that. Again, just if I understand that you said that you don't want to comment on the case, but if there's any other statement you would like to make, just now is your chance.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas.
I think we should be good. Thank you for your time, Mr. Tullis.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the clerk will now read the verdict form out loud.
I think we were a little past this. There we go.
The psychiatrist had come and seen me, and she said that, you know,
Some of us have seen it, some of us have not, so I'm going to go ahead and let it play.
suicide risk or anything. Yet still they decided to throw me into that room. And it's a room where they strip you down naked. It's a cold room. It's windowless. The lights are on 24 hours a day. And they give you a cargo blanket, and there's no form of entertainment, nothing to do. You've got to just stare at the walls.
They are a little bit, but there's some
I don't believe I did anything to
little
justify
information
in
differences.
that
We'll talk about it.
situation, but it is what it is. They did that for a day.
Are you
So
sure?
as far as any concern about hurting myself, no, there is none. I'm ready to continue fighting and to, you know, continue telling my story and to get home.
What are your feelings about Jeff Gehrman? What's your opinion of Jeff Gehrman?
You know, he didn't deserve to die. You know, I was not necessarily a fan because, you know, the articles, but, you know, that's it. You know, I don't know what else to say about it. You know, there's certainly not enough, you know, anger there to kill somebody.
How do you feel about Jeff Gehrman's murder?
I think it's crazy. standpoint that it's been pinned on me, and here I am. I'm going to suffer. But I know that he had a lot of great contributions to the community, and we heard about that. So I'm sure there are really a lot of people who are who are upset and perhaps think that my conviction is some way to, I don't know, I guess is good for his memory, but again, it is what it is. Like I said, I didn't kill him, and it's unfortunate that he was killed.
Do you have any message for Jeff Garriman's family?
I am sorry for their loss. It sounds like he was a wonderful uncle and a great brother. And again, I like I said, the kind of person that I am, I can really appreciate the wonderful things that he did for his family.
So if you didn't murder Jeff Garriman, who did?
I don't know. Again, I've said who I believe it is, and their motivations. These folks certainly have, if they weren't responsible, they certainly gained a pretty nice windfall from it all. After all my investigations got basically thrown to the wayside, I'm here and they continue on without criminal repercussions. So I believe that they are responsible, but I am not. I did not kill Mr. German.
So when you took to the stand a week ago, you said you thought Compass Realty, somebody that you had tried to expose because of their practices, you think Compass Realty might be behind the murder of Jeff Garriman?
Yes. So yes. And if you look at their activities, when I testified, that it was escalating. It started with just trying to threaten with lawsuits. Then it came to approaching the county, and then it came to disparaging me in court pleadings. Then it came to the point where they decided to run their own candidate in the race for my seat. One of their own real estate agents, a Compass Realty real estate agent, was running for the office as a nonpartisan candidate. And then they decided to back Rita Reed. 2 weeks before Mr. German's first article, Rita Reed received a $10,000 donation between Adam Fenn, one of their realtors, and Compass Realty themselves. And of course, 2 weeks later, that this article comes out, and then thereafter, these funds appear to go to the text messaging campaign that ultimately results in my loss. But despite that, I continue to fight Compass Realty. I went ahead and went to court. There was a video that the jury got to watch that showed that, again, I was not lying down. I was not checked out. This wasn't the end as far as my term goes. So about, again, a few days before Mr. German was murdered, I got an order entered that was going to give me the investigative powers to do what should have been done with these investigations. And again, I think this is just the next logical step. And at the end of the day, when we look at it, again, they're not going to suffer any criminal repercussions. They're not going to suffer any loss of their license or anything, because my credibility is shot. People, go on, please. Sorry.
You want to
So
live
it's your
somebody and you
contention
think
that a
your
local realty
credibility should
company
be
hired a
maintained?
hitman to murder Jeff Garriman and then plant evidence at your house, and you said you couldn't even clear the district attorney Steve Wolfson in this conspiracy. Is that your contention?
No, I didn't say that he was involved in the conspiracy to murder. I mentioned the fact that when Detective Jaffe had found criminal concerns that he conveyed to me, and this is again about a week or two after DA Wolfson introduced me to Detective Jaffe, that a week after that, DA Wolfson received a donation from one of the Compass Realty real estate agents. And this is after, again, Detective Jaffe had mentioned his own concerns about certain conduct, basically the thieving of personal property from inside the home and the vehicles of the decedents. That, again, a week later, Steve Wilson received a donation, and now fast forward, there's no criminal wrongdoing whatsoever. And if you watch the trial, you saw that I showed that, in one of these homes, we were able to prove that the carpeting, all the flooring was in the home, the kitchen was in the home before Compass Realty got a hold of it. But then, just before the sale to one of their partners, the flooring is ripped out, the kitchen is ripped out. If devaluing a home like that is not criminal conduct, then I can't believe, I can't imagine what is at this point. But and if you'd ask the families that were cheated by Compass Realty over and over again, whether or not they think that they just suffered from a loophole, I think they're going to say otherwise. I think they're going to believe, they're going to agree that this is criminal conduct.
I just want to make sure I understand your contention here. What you're alleging is that a local realty company hired a hitman to kill Jeff Garriman and plant evidence at your house. Is that what you're saying?
This is my belief, yes.
But you had 12 members of a jury who didn't believe you, who think you're a liar. So the jury is wrong?
So, again, you may recall, during that day, at 8:50, they made a big deal out of the fact that I sent a text message, exchange between me and my daughter, at 8:50 from my home. And if you watch, and you see testimony, you hear that at 9:10, this SUV pulls into my neighborhood. I'm at home at the time. This SUV pulls into my neighborhood, and then 2 minutes later pulls out of my neighborhood. So that was not my SUV. That was not me. I was at home when that killer pulled into my neighborhood.
I understand this, but the jury heard all the evidence. The jury heard all the evidence. They got it wrong. 12 people in our community, 12 people heard all of the evidence, including what you had to say, and said you're guilty.
They got it wrong. Yes, sir.
Okay, there's one bit of evidence. I think the most damning bit of evidence is your DNA was found under Jeff Garriman's fingernails. How?
Again, I don't know that it was ever there to begin with. And
Are you saying that that was a setup, that they planted your DNA under Jeff Garriman's fingernails?
How it got planted, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you this. That oftentimes...
So the conspiracy goes all the way to these forensic people at Metro? That's how far the conspiracy goes?
So basically, again, I'm not talking about a single conspiracy here. You may know that oftentimes police will, again, plug holes in a case. I've read it, and you've got to imagine, I've had a lot of time here. And I've researched and I've found cases where evidence is planted, even DNA evidence is planted. Here in Clark County.
Why would Metro detectives plant evidence against you? Why would they care about pinning the murder on you?
As I said before, Detective Jappy wanted to basically, he wanted to take me down. So, and the other folks just lined up because it was their duty.
So Compass Realty, Detective Jappy, all of these people are involved in this conspiracy against you.
Again, sir, like I said, you're creating one conspiracy out of all the different actions. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't take for all these people to knowingly be involved in Mr. Garriman's murder. It's just a couple of individuals taking advantage of the various working parts of the system. So, again, you can repeat it that way, but I'm not going to say that there was one mass conspiracy where all these people knew about the murder. No.
But wouldn't there have to be for?
I want to make that clear, especially to the audience, that despite what you're saying, that's not what I'm saying.
But wouldn't that have to be true, that there was a mass conspiracy for them to plant all this evidence against you, for them to hire a hitman and try to pin it on you? It sounds like a vast conspiracy in your head.
No, sir. No, again, like I said, you're conflating the issues. There's the one component where it's basically Compass Realty and Detective Jappy. And like I said, oftentimes when one officer needs help just plugging holes in their case because they think that that's what they need to do, other officers will do what they have to. And like I said, I've seen numerous cases. I'm sure you've heard stories as well yourself. But so it is what it is, and folks can believe me. They cannot, but I'm innocent. Period.
So you've never really been in any major trouble in your life. What is life behind bars like for a person like you?
Scary
Sure,
dude.
it was a nightmare. Especially when I told you about that. When you asked me about that suicide.
I have a vision of him climbing in that bunk, pulling the covers over his head, sucking his fingers and rubbing his bald head to comfort himself. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Why do I keep saying sorry? Dude, it's a freaking nightmare. Don't sit there and act like, oh, it's cool, dude. I'm good.
When I first got here, they decided to throw me in there for 8 days. I was cleared of, it was supposed to be a 72-hour hold, and before the 72 hours, they did clear me, but, it was decided I'd still sit in here for another 5 days, or in that particular situation. But so it started off very rough. I guess that humans, we end up becoming accustomed to whatever comes our way.
This
Sooner or
man's
later,
face
and
makes
so
no sense. And somebody was saying earlier, how does he not have lines in his forehead?
No, because these cameras, he does, but the light is so bright on him that it's washing it out.
Do you think
As a
he does
photographer of 20 years, that
Botox?
camera, the light is washing everything out. And so only the deepest you can see. I have lines, but if I wash myself out enough, you won't see them as much.
I think we might even see a little bit of Botox rebound
No.
from him. Really?
In the beginning, possibly. Yes. But this right here, it's after he's been in jail for a few years. Yeah. He has them. It's just very washed out. Oh,
His face just makes me exhausted. I just don't know how he makes his face do what it does.
it's natural and it's
Wow.
only a face a mother could love.
Yeah. It is. It just is
And if you
totally
noticed, he
true.
when asked about his wife and are they together and how's the relationship, he doesn't admit that they're together, but he doesn't admit they're separated. And all honestly, she probably will divorce him because she'll have to financially, if for nothing else. I've explained this before, but yeah, he loves them. She loves me. She testified for me. She probably did it for the sake of the children more than herself. But she'll move on. She'll move on. She will.
I'm going to continue fighting. I'm going to, I believe I'm going to win my appeal, and I'm going to get home and get back to my family.
So you're 47 now. You're, according to the sentence, going to spend at least 20 years behind bars. That puts you at 67 before you'd be eligible for parole. What about the thought of spending the rest of your life behind bars? What's that like?
And again, life is short, and despite all this craziness that's occurred now, I mean, I think, and again, I did try to take my life at that one point because they broke in me, the police that day. But I am now of the mindset that I'm going to live life, try to tell my story, and try to fight to get back home. And so, with respect to how many years it takes, if I don't succeed, then so be it. I'll just try to make the best of life because, as far as I know, we've only got one.
So on the witness stand, you did admit to having an affair with one of your staffers, something that you denied for a long, long time. You lied about it. You admitted you lied about it. Doesn't that make you a liar?
Oh!
I testified truthfully on the stand, and so you can decide what you want about that. And as I mentioned before, I felt it was a private, well, I didn't say it was a private matter, but I think that should be implied when I say I wanted to protect our families. This is just, when I lied, I just didn't want our families to go through more grief, because it seems like that was the sensational, salacious part of this whole thing that people enjoyed hearing about. And I just don't know that it was, I don't think it was necessarily wrong to want to protect my family and the family of that person. But I mean, you all can decide what you want about it, but that was my motivation, and I don't think all people would begrudge me trying to protect our families from further misery from people repeating this over and over again.
The jury did hear you testify in your own words. You were able to tell your story for over an hour, and they didn't believe you. The jury thinks you're a liar.
They can think I'm a liar if they want. Certainly, that's their choice. And what am I going to do about it? It's, again, we just move forward.
Why did you have scores of? This is going to end in 2 minutes. Why did you have scores of pictures of Jeff Garriman's house on your devices? Why?
I did not.
They found them.
I did not. So they say, but no, I did not. Those things don't even make sense. As I testified.
So they're lying about that?
Someone is, yes. But again, like I said, those items just they don't make sense from any standpoint.
People want to know where the murder weapon is. Where's the murder weapon?
I have no idea, because I did not kill Mr. Garman.
In the red Denali, they see the red Denali, maroon Denali in front of Jeff Garriman's house. They believe that's the vehicle that the murderer drove, and it just by happenstance, your family has a maroon Denali.
I don't think it's by happenstance that the killer had a similar maroon Denali at all. And again, during testimony by everybody, there was supposedly this camera that was right across the street that was pictured in Google Maps. If that was me and I saw there was a camera right across the street, again, I would not want to commit any kind of act where I didn't want to get caught on camera when I knew there was a camera directly across the street. So I think that too just speaks to the fact that if I didn't do this, it'd just be crazy to do something like that. To put yourself on camera, to put your own vehicle in front of a camera would be just insane.
Just one final question, Mr. Tellis.
Yes, sir.
I talked to a lot of people in the community, and I don't hear a lot of sympathy for you. In fact, a lot of people are happy that you were sentenced to life in prison. What do you have to say to those people?
For meeting with us. I know that we have limited time, so I wanted to start with this. You were convicted of first-degree murder 2 days ago. Do you have a message for Jeff Garriman's family?
Yes, sir. Again, I am very sorry for their loss. It's tragic. He was clearly a good man who made a difference in the community and a difference in his family, but they certainly have my condolences, but I'm not guilty. I am innocent of his murder.
A jury of 12. You're a former attorney. You helped select this jury. You say that they got it wrong?
I do. Yes, sir.
Why is that?
Obviously, there was a lot of evidence in, I think, every different direction. I think one of the important things that the jury did not focus on was the fact that, as was heard earlier during the trial, that at 8:50 a.m. I was at home texting with one of my kids. I did not leave home. And at 9:10, this SUV that looks very similar to my SUV pulls into my neighborhood while I'm still at home, then drives out 2 minutes later, follows the path to Mr. Garman's home, murders Mr. Garman, and makes its way back toward my home.
Well, let's talk about that because prosecutors pointed to the text message that was on your wife's watch and not your cell phone. She was trying to get a hold of you. So where were you?
Again, as I testified, I had taken a walk. And when I came back home, I just walked in the door. I yelled up that I'm home, and that was it. I mentioned too that if I hadn't, then certainly she would have texted and called further. Right. So the fact that there was just the one call and text within a couple minutes of each other shows that, again, there was no concern that I was not yet home or anything like that.
Why frame you? Because you believe that you're being framed, right? Being framed by who and why? Why not just kill you?
Right, and then again, that was something that I addressed on the stand as well. So I believe that Compass Realty, I would want to do my investigation on this, but I was able to prove it. But I believe Compass Realty framed me to stop me from investigating them. And so when you think about this question about, well, why not kill you instead? Again, killing me wouldn't have stopped the investigations into them, and maybe even bolstered those investigations, when people try to figure out why I was killed, or perhaps the investigations were picked up in my memory and worked on harder. But again, like I said, because now that Mr. Gurman's been murdered and I was framed for it, Compass Realty gets away with, not having to answer to any of the criminal conduct that they've engaged in. And also the real estate division complaint that I had filed against them, that got dropped after I got put in jail. It certainly is serendipity for them if, as a result of my supposedly killing Mr. Gurman, that they get to walk away without any repercussions for their criminal conduct.
I heard you take the stand, and I was there in court each and every day. You were there on the stand for a duration over 3 days, and you mentioned that on the stand. Why did you want to take the stand? If you did it again, over again, would you? Because the jury didn't seem to believe what you had to say in your narrative.
Yeah, I would do it again. I don't know that it's necessarily my testimony had a negative impact. I think perhaps had we highlighted again a little harder the inconsistencies with the evidence, that perhaps they would have seen the truth. I don't know that my testimony had a negative impact. In fact, I think it, at the very least, the public got to hear my story. And while they're not jurors, they can decide whether or not this is all true, but I'm innocent, and so I guess that's bottom line for me.
So who killed Jeff Gehrman then?
Like I said, I believe it is someone who was hired by Compass Realty.
And what steps are you going to do moving forward if you say that you're an innocent man behind bars, you're yet to be sentenced, you're yet to be moved to prison? What's next for you then?
So right now I'm working on my appeals. I do believe that I will get out early on appeal. So I'm working on that right now. As far as any investigations that I'd hope to complete, unfortunately, I won't be able to do it from here. If there's enough time when I get out, such that all the evidence hasn't, basically aged, I guess, I don't know if it's aged out, but if there's still yet evidence remaining by the time I get out, then great. Then I will continue to pursue those investigations when I get out.
When do you think that you're going to be getting out? When do you think you're going to be getting out? You've been convicted of first-degree murder. You're going to be sentenced, and the possibility is after serving 20 years parole, but you're unlikely to get parole unless you take responsibility for the actions that you've been convicted of.
So, in fact, it's going to be longer than 20 years. There are enhancements, so I'll be looking at probably 28 years. But again, it is my belief that, and I'm going to continue working on this, that, I'll be able to get back to my family sooner through appeals. That's, my main concern is getting back home to my family.
Let's talk about that, because in the mitigation, you had 3 witnesses that were on the stand in your defense. It was your wife, your ex-wife, and your mom. And you broke down in tears when your mom was on the stand, pleading on your behalf for parole.
Okay, guys, I got to say something here. This is why I said his wife needs to divorce him. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of new people here today. I lost my husband to prison, and I didn't know what he was doing. And I went through what his wife is going through. And if she doesn't divorce him, she's going to lose everything and then some. Even her own income can be sanctioned, depending on the state laws, but especially if it's a 50-50 state. Excuse me, I was choking on my coffee. But the thing is not only can the victim's family be suing, which they probably will, for wrongful death, the businesses and individuals that he's speaking against and slandering can and will come after him. And therefore, if she's still married to him, they can take a part of her wages as long as they are still together legally. I think that is exactly right. When I was, well, not necessarily appeals, but the sentencing. Once sentencing is finalized, that is a safe time to divorce. But the appellates, they don't pay attention to that. The appellates is more on the process of the court, not whether or not the wife is together. Now, one thing that does show possible guilt is the spouse leaving. And so, I was instructed, if you're going to divorce, which you will need to if they're found guilty. If your husband's found guilty, you will need to divorce. And at that point, it was wait until the sentencing is over because it can influence the sentencing. So we'll move on.
And they were all characterizing you as a family man, but I hadn't seen your family in court supporting you during the trial.
I didn't want them there. And because of all the media, you got to understand that my family, they love me. I talk to them all the time. As you heard, I talk to my kids all the time. I expressly did not want them during the proceedings. I didn't want them to suffer from all of this.
Then why did you do this?
All along. So yeah, they didn't show up because I asked them not to. I wanted to protect them from this situation.
Why did you cry when your mom was testifying on your behalf? And, according to our viewers and people that have watched your trial, they didn't see much emotion from you whenever there were pictures of Mr. Gehrman or when his family was on the stand. Why is that?
I don't know that, I certainly felt for them. I don't know if my face, demonstrated or not, but I definitely felt for the family during their testimony. And I certainly, this has been frustrating for me, but you got to understand that, I had to try to just prove my innocence to show the jury that, again, I am a family man. I am somebody who could not possibly have committed this murder. So that was my main goal during the trial, was to just to convey them and to show them the evidence, that I had seen that shows
exactly
that I did not commit this murder. So,
yep. Exactly.
I'm sorry if it came off as though I didn't have emotion, but I thought I certainly conveyed it,
And on that same regard, viewers online, people love to weigh in on what they're watching at specific times, but a lot of people didn't believe that there was emotion on the stand when you appeared to be crying. Were you crying, and why?
And that wasn't for show, that just was not.
Wait for the answer, y'all.
It's not something that I planned. Basically, when I was talking about the fact that, I was basically tortured, mentally, during this period where they detained me during the search. And I was already just about broken because they were talking about my family and what this was going to do to my family. And they'd already put me in this paper suit and this freezing environment. And by the time I walked into my house, it was a tornado. They trashed my children's rooms. They trashed my entire house.
So the worst thing for you to deal with is not the fact that a man has been ended, life is ended, and that you are being accused of ending this man's life, and that your children are going to have to put up with people accusing you of being the one who's done it, and the stigmatism and everything with the wife and all of the crap that we go through as families unjustly, because it's guilty by association, y'all. It is. I lived it. That didn't break you, but seeing your house tossed broke you. Dude, you've got issues. You've got seriously priority issues here. This just makes me want to blow my gasket with him, and it makes me want to go to red. This pisses me off every time I hear it. It does. He gives more weight and he cares more about the condition of his home than he does how this affects his children. How this affects, he says, oh, it affects my wife and my children, and I worry about that, but my you asshole.
And my wife was sitting on the floor crying, and so I cried on the stand, and it wasn't for show. It wasn't me trying to gain any sympathy. I cried, and there were tears. My face was wet, but it wasn't for public consumption. It wasn't for the jury's sake. That's just something that came out. So if it looked unbelievable, then so be it, because it wasn't meant to be an act. It wasn't meant to be something to sway anybody.
And speaking of that jury, they were out for roughly 12.
And for those of you who subscribe and are members, we have some cool emojis. And here's Heidi the Highlander. But here is our emojis, and there's some good ones in there. And I would be using the pink one with the mind blown. I'll put that multiple times there. That's where I'm at, y'all. In sign
12
language,
hours over 3 days, and they asked to see certain videos. One of the videos was what your defense team had pointed out, with what they say was hair on the driver of the suspect in a vehicle. And then the second was a comparison side by side of you walking with the AP article of you in your office from that Gehrman interview, and also video of the suspect. And a lot of people say that it's the same walk, that you have the same walk as the suspect. You say that it's not? Do you see the similarities?
I don't agree, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, but no, I don't agree.
And they were asking for those pieces of evidence.
I don't know. I was still hopeful, that they would see my innocence, but that was about it.
When the jury came back and we were all waiting, and then they asked you to stand at that defense table and they read the verdict, what went through your mind then?
Unfortunately, they got it wrong, and that it's time to continue on with my work and try to get home.
I know that you say that you believe that they got it wrong. Again, I want to circle back to how are you going to continue your investigation and to prove your innocence, since you really believe that, while behind bars, while in prison?
I think there are potentially a couple different ways, and we'll see whether or not they pan out. Currently, there's a lawsuit that between me and some of the folks in the office where I could potentially get some of the discovery that would connect some of the players, and then there's a lawsuit that I've filed against certain officers that may net some of the information that I need. But we'll see about that particular lawsuit. I know they're going to try to dismiss it now with a conviction, but that again could take years by the time we get to the point where I can get anything to demonstrate more of what is going on here.
You were convicted less than 48 hours ago. Why is it important for you to speak out now you have not been sentenced yet. And if you're going to be asking for an appeal, anything you say right now can be used against you. You know that.
Right. Well, and then again, obviously, I'm here because, folks like yourself wanted to speak to me. And certainly, like I said, I'm innocent. And, if my standing up and continuing to declare my innocence is going to hurt my chances for an appeal, then so be it. But
You are a freaking fool. But what else could we expect from this guy?
I should certainly hope not. I should hope that my declaring my innocence should not be, reason for any judge to be punitive. For any judge to decide that they're going to put me away for longer, or they're going to deny my appeal. So we'll certainly see whether there is any kind of repercussion for me continuing to say that I'm innocent. And if it is, it's wrong. But we'll see.
How did the DNA get under the victim's fingernails, and that was your DNA?
That, again, I don't know, sir. Because then, like I said, I don't know that it was ever under his fingernails. I didn't kill Mr. Gurman. I know that's what, they say that my DNA was under his nails, but I don't know how that may have occurred.
Why were the shoes cut up underneath your couch?
I don't know. I'm wondering the same thing. If supposedly I was the person who committed this crime, why not just throw those things away? It makes no sense to cut up shoes.
And the same would be, why cut up a hat? And why get rid of other items? According to prosecutors and according to your conviction, this jury believes you killed Mr. Gehrman, you came home, you cut up the shoes, you cut up the hat, but then you got rid of other items, including the orange shirt, the pants, and the murder weapon. How did those items still get in your home if they're trying to frame you? Where is the murder weapon?
And again, so that just what you're saying makes no sense, right? I mean, if I were the killer and I got rid of some of the items, why wouldn't I get rid of all of the items at once? It makes no sense. And then on top of that, the alleged hiding places for these items, one was under my couch, and then another was an open toolbox. Again, it just doesn't make any sense.
If you believe that the jury got it wrong and you are still innocent, what is your message to that jury then? They vested so much time and did their civil duty. What's your message to the jury?
Yeah, I appreciate that they felt they did their duty, but they got it wrong. But again, beyond that, there's not much else I can say. I'm focused on trying to prove my innocence and trying to get home.
Did you kill Jeff Gehrman?
I did not, sir.
Yeah, and again, your message to his family.
And I'm very sorry for their loss. We've all been through a lot with this situation. And I'm hoping that, that they too can, when they move on, and it's a horrible, horrible situation all around. We're all suffering for it.
Why did your team decide to go with the narrative versus you being asked questions on the stand? It appeared to me that the jury was never given an explanation for that. And that's what juries expect. They expect the defense team to ask questions. Why did you choose narrative?
Well, I chose a narrative style just because, again, I had so much to say that it would have been so difficult for us to get through it all if we were doing it in a question and answer form. Just like in any, and again, I'm not testifying as an expert witness, but oftentimes when an expert witness testifies, they're given a question and they'll elaborate quite a bit on that one particular question. I had so many particular questions that I wanted to answer that for us to do it in a question and answer form would have just been so tedious. I think we would have lost the jury well before we got halfway through my testimony. So that's why it was a narrative.
Is there anything that you wish you had said that you think could have changed your trial?
I think if perhaps I'd, again, I thought we made it clear that I was home when that SUV drove into my neighborhood. If it was not, maybe I wish I would have hammered on that more to just say, hey, look, I mean, I cannot be in two places at once, so you got to consider that. I mean, I was at home. So I think that would have been pretty definitive as far as, evidence goes that I'm innocent. But beyond that, I think we did what we could.
Prosecutors say that you were not home, that your cell phone was home, and that's the reason why your wife was wondering where you were.
If you recall, again, their own expert testified that at 8:50 a.m. I was using my phone, texting, and at 9, so at home at 8:50, texting, and then this SUV comes into my neighborhood at 9:10. So even their evidence shows the same. Like I said, that's what I needed to hammer on more, I think, and perhaps that got lost in all the shuffle of all this evidence, I think.
Is there any other evidence that you had hoped that the jury would see that you think could have changed the outcome?
I think a bit more of the evidence regarding motivations behind Detective Jappy's actions would have perhaps demonstrated that Detective Jappy was not just doing his job.
Yo, I know some of this is repetitive. However, if you start listening to the slight
I've
differences
interviewed
in the way
you
he words
before
things,
here
it's
in
interesting.
jail. You claimed you were innocent. Now that the jury has returned a guilty verdict, I'll ask you again. Did you kill Jeff Gehrman?
No, I did not.
Despite the guilty verdict?
That is correct.
What do you think of the guilty verdict?
It is what it is. I think there was evidence to prove that I didn't do it. I think one of the biggest things was the fact that, I was home at 9:10 when this car pulled into my neighborhood and then pulled directly out. I think that was the biggest indicator that it couldn't have been me. But, again, with the other alleged evidence, which, again, as I said before, I had nothing to do with. That was all planted. I think but for that, they would have returned an innocent verdict or a not guilty verdict. But I'm here now, and I've got to get working on my appeals.
Do you think taking the stand was a mistake?
I don't. I think, in fact, that if I hadn't taken the stand, then a lot of the truth wouldn't have come out. The whole story didn't get out, but some did. And I think that a lot of the things that I shared on the stand, I shouldn't say I think, I did have documentary evidence for everything that I said. Again, I think I did my best. And I think the fact that, I don't know, I guess it's a tough situation, because I try to prove the truth of the matter, but, here I am.
Judge Michelle Levitt will still have to sentence you for both of these enhancements. You know that typically a judge wants to see remorse. A judge wants to see someone accept responsibility. You're not doing either of those things. Do you think that will hurt you in October?
I mean, again, unfortunately, if she decides to hold it against me that I'm innocent, then so be it. And then maybe I don't know. I certainly cannot accept guilt for something I didn't do just to avoid more time.
How concerned are you that you will die in prison?
Honestly, I've got appeals, and I feel that I feel very hopeful about the appeals. There's a lot of there are a lot of issues to address that I think may bring me home earlier than that. But again, time will tell.
Do you think your defense attorneys did a good job?
to say whether they did a good job or not, I mean, again, anything could have happened. So I couldn't say how good a job versus how bad a job they did. I know they certainly tried.
What did you think of prosecutor Chris Hamner questioning you on the stand?
Frankly, I thought that he was not really, I guess, well, maybe it's not his job to be fair or to be kind, but certainly he got extremely aggressive, and I think I frankly think he turned a lot of people off, but certainly that made no difference with the verdict, despite his demeanor. But yeah, so I certainly wasn't, I can't say that I was a fan of the way that he acted during the trial.
When you took the stand, there was a time where you wiped your eyes. Quite frankly, I didn't see any tears, but when I believe I saw emotion was when your mother and your wife and your ex-wife took the stand and talked about your children. Can you address that?
Actually, when they showed the photos, and again, I didn't do it as a performance. When they showed pictures of my home thrashed and my wife was sitting on the floor, it did break me up, and I did cry. But it wasn't for performance sake at all. I didn't expect. All I expected to do was to just demonstrate what had happened to my home and to explain why I made that ultimate decision to try to take my life. It was, because of everything that had been done to me during the detention, and then after they pretty much beat me up during the detention emotionally, I walk into my home and it's a train wreck. The police just thrown all of my family's things everywhere. You saw my daughter's rooms were destroyed, and so when I got upstairs and saw my wife sitting on the floor crying, it broke me. And on the stand, I cried, and it wasn't for the benefit of the audience. It just happened. I never meant to cry during that. I just wanted to show the jury what they had done to my.
Okay, I got to stop because I got questions and stuff I can't answer and sign. I do have I have a woman who is watching at the moment that needed signing. Where is that question? It was an 80. Thanks for coming in, Jill. Brian, please rewatch. Thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Before you leave your DNA. Where was that question on signing? Okay, here it is. I have a question. Where and why did you learn to sign? Eva, I learned from San Antonio Community College because I started going deaf. I did not know I was going to become fully deaf. I thought that it was just a little bit of a hearing loss, and I was in a wheelchair, and I did not have any kind of education, and I wanted to get an education, and I wanted to work with the deaf and disabled community. So I started learning ASL, and then my hearing plummeted a whole lot. So 2 reasons. Once, because I have now become fully deaf and I use ASL as much as I can. And then it was also for work. It was a 2-part reason for that. It is hard to talk and sign at the same time, but with practice, I'm becoming better at that. So that's one reason why I fully understand the need for interpretation when a deaf person or hard of hearing person is watching, because there's no closed captioning at this point. If there's closed captioning and I know the person has a hard time reading it, I'll sign. It just depends on the situation and the deaf or hard of hearing person, what they need for accessibility. Oh, wonderful. Hopefully the judge would toss. Yes, we were cheering. We were cheering for Hamner. Yes. Sneaky said it was a madhouse. LOL, tomorrow starts local summer and tourist. Ah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's why I interpret or have an interpreter, and I'm trying to contact her so she can hop on. So here we go.
My family,
Clearly, you were emotional when your mom took the stand. She said, "I love you, son," a couple of times. Your wife, your ex-wife. What do you want to say about that? Because I did see you emotional as they spoke, especially about your children.
well, it's just, I mean, my family's my life, and that was, it was certainly to see them and to feel their, for them to show, the truth of who I am it was a very emotional time because, again, unfortunately, since the start of this, people have gotten wrong who I am. I am someone who cares about people, who is always trying to do good things for the community and for individuals. And I love my kids and I love my family so much. So, just seeing, seeing their faces for the first time in almost 2 years in person instead of, behind a screen. That alone was very emotional for me to be able to breathe the same air as them. And so, yeah, once they opened their mouths, it was very touching to me. It meant a lot to me. So.
And they talked about, I mean, your mom said you were a loving son and you had a lot of responsibility as a kid. Both of your wives said you're an excellent dad. Here you are, convicted of murder. Many people believe you're a killer, and those are two different people, a loving dad and then a killer. That's interesting.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm innocent. You cannot be the man that I am and this killer too. And again, I think people for some reason thought I was mentally ill or what have you, just based on all this media attention. But you can clearly see I'm not. There was there have been evaluations done to show that I'm not. I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not. I'm none of these things that this typical killer would have, these traits.
It has been suggested that possibly you're a narcissist and you've convinced yourself that you didn't commit this murder, even though you did.
Well, that is absolutely not the truth. I didn't commit the murder. So, and again, people can speculate all they want. But as you heard, I think for you to be a narcissist, you have to not care about anybody else. You have to care only about yourself. I care about, I've always cared about the world at large. I've cared about my family. I care about others. To say that I'm a narcissist, I mean, again, that's just speculation on the part of people who want to believe that I committed this crime.
And again, they said you're a family man. You're saying you're a family man. You did have the affair and you did lie about it for a couple of years. Are you a liar? That suggests you're a liar.
And again, you can certainly, you can say what you want. I was trying to protect my family, and that is what it is.
You mentioned that not everything came out, that perhaps there were other things you wanted to mention. Could you maybe just share one of those things that you felt was important?
I think the truth behind Detective Jappy's motivations and how it all started, and the way that he lied about the initiation of his investigation, never got out. And, again, that was an investigation that started before Mr. Gurman's death. And so this confluence of all these supposedly strange things that happen to have no bearing as far as people are concerned on the case, it's not coincidence. It's a crazy, crazy story. But again, I've got backup to show all of this.
But as prosecutor Chris Hamner pointed out, a lot of people would have to be part of your conspiracy. The DNA lab, it doesn't make sense.
Not necessarily, no. Again, it doesn't have to be a lot of people. And certainly, again, like I said before, not every single officer needed to be in on the idea of trying to frame me for the sake of, allowing a criminal enterprise to continue, but only for the sake of trying to help, again, another officer build his case. I've seen numerous cases where this has occurred, including even where DNA evidence has been planted here in Clark County.
How do you explain the DNA? Okay. How do you explain Jeff Gehrman's?
Okay, guys. The question is, yes, there is. So the first couple of times the word is used, I finger spell it to set it up because not every deaf person knows that word. And then now I will use it, and it's this: loves thyself.
How do you explain your DNA under Jeff Gehrman's fingernails?
I don't know. Again, whether it was under his nails or not, I do know, again, that we've heard testimony that the officers didn't see any scratches on me. I didn't have any scratches on me. I was not at that location ever. So how this evidence may have gotten under his nails or not, I don't know.
What about the photos of Jeff's home and neighborhood?
Again, I did not take those.
The searches.
Again, the one set of search that I talked about, trying to promote my website to combat, again, the allegations, that's true. But those other searches, untrue.
The cut-up shoe.
Again, it makes no sense. No, I don't know. Again, everything that they claim to have found in my home is planted.
What is your biggest regret?
I don't know. I don't know that I could say that I would have done anything differently. I was trying to do my best to make sure to, do work for the community. So I can't say that I want to take that back. I do know that if Detective Jappy had done his job, I believe that Mr. Gehrman would be alive today. But again, at this point, I can't do any further investigation until I get out of here. If I can even get out of here in time to do any investigating. Once time goes on, things disappear. So I don't know.
What would you say to individuals who are concerned about their safety if you ever are released from prison?
Again, there's that. I don't believe anyone should ever really have any credible fear of me. These folks who prior made these allegations know that they're false about my demeanor. I'm not an angry person. I don't flip out on people. And I think that that's even demonstrated when I was on the stand. That as much as I think that Mr. Hamner wanted to rile me and make me explode, that's just not the kind of person I am. I don't get angry at people. So this notion that I'm going to be on a hunt for people, that's crazy. That's just so crazy.
Why did you want to talk to us today?
I guess really just to, again, answer questions, and I'm sure that people were curious to whether or not I maintain my innocence. But yes, I do maintain my innocence. I did not kill Mr. Gehrman.
What would you say? So you're essentially saying 12 jurors are wrong. What would you say to the jury?
Just that, I understand this is what you thought was right, but you were wrong. I'll have to live with that decision for some time. Again, I'm hopeful I don't have to live with it for too long. I believe that there's a chance that I'll get out on appeal after this.
Your mother said that she accepts the verdict. Does that mean she believes her son is a killer?
No, I don't believe so at all. I believe she accepts that they've decided that they're sending me away. My mother has always believed in my innocence. My mother has, we talk, like as she said, numerous times a week. No, and I've told her I'm innocent. And my mother believes me. She knows I don't, I wouldn't lie about this.
How concerned are you about prison? It's no secret that the prisons here are quite a mess.
So I guess my hope is to, maybe go to Lovelock for now. I understand it's a protective custody prison. Because I am concerned that, if for some reason I'm released into general population, that an accident may happen and I may not, I may not make it. So I'm certainly concerned about that. But I'm also concerned about being put in, a protective custody situation in one of the other prisons where I'm not allowed out of my cell, and I'm not allowed to work. I'm not allowed to, again, keep myself busy. And then I've just got to sit there and stare at the walls for years.
Since the verdict, have you been on suicide watch?
So immediately after the verdict, I informed the administration that I was ready to get to work on my appeal.
Okay.
That I felt fine. The psychiatrist came and saw me. I explained the same to her. I'm good. I'm just ready to get to work on my appeal. And despite that, they decided to throw me into 2C, where they strip you down naked. They put you in a cold, windowless room where the lights are on 24 hours a day. They give you a cargo blanket for a blanket, and you've got no entertainment, no books, no nothing.
So it wasn't.
And so it wasn't because there was any credible concern that I could see.
Okay.
The psychiatrist saw no credible concern. They just threw me in there anyway.
Okay. I have a minute left with you. There's 2 questions I want to cover really quick. We're going to get cut off, so I apologize for cutting you off. But where's the murder weapon?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. Again, I did not kill Mr. German, so asking me where the weapon is, I have no idea.
Were you there as Jeff Gearman said his last words?
I did not kill Mr. German. I've never been to his home. I was not there, no.
Okay. Thank you for talking with us. It's going to cut us off anyway, but I appreciate it, okay?
Okay, I need to take a quick rest on my signing. And I do want to look at some of your comments. You guys have some great comments, and I really, really appreciate it. And I think my client or okay. Okay, my deaf friend is going to go run errands. First of all, I am not a certified court reporter, so only way I can sign is this is not court. And on top of that, you have to be a court certified interpreter to do that, and I don't want to go there. But thank you very much for saying that. Oh, yes, facial. Your eyebrows can make it either a statement or a question, for example. Yeah, Miss Sneaky's in and out. She's doing great. I'm scrolling through. I don't believe him. Yeah. There's a lot of signs I could teach you. Yeah, he has convinced himself that he's innocent. And that happens a lot in prisons. They really do. They really do. And I find it interesting. He stated it was the first time that he's been able to breathe the same air as his family. This is true. But when he gets into a prison, he will be able to give a hug at the beginning, give a hug at the end once they get to a certain point. This is narcissistic. They love themselves. Now, I will tell you from personal experience that family members also can go down that river of denial and emphatically believe that their loved one is innocent as long as they claim innocence because they don't want to accept the truth. So his mother has to know he's guilty, and it's just like, yeah, so no, I'm in a situation where he's found guilty, but she's on the same boat he is in the River Nile. So, a lot of mothers, especially with the heinous crimes, often do what she's doing. And the brother may not have wanted to. Not everybody wants to get up there. Um, not everybody wants to be on TV, and that's the thing is a lot of times family members are found guilty by association, and unfortunately, that is a very difficult place to be because the moment they put their face out there, that means everybody in their world will know who they're connected to, and they're trying to keep it close to home, so they can have some sense of normalcy of life. Just think about how hard it would be with the media and everything if, we all knew exactly who he was and all that, so it's a really hard place to be. And he may or may not believe he did it, but sometimes they have their own children, they have their own wives, they have their own families, and it disrupts them as well if they put themselves out there. Oh, no sense, no chance, no. Yes, notice how his wife, ex-wife, and his mother said nothing about him being innocent. They only talked about yes, exactly. Exactly. I don't know if they're enabling, they're surviving, and that's what people don't understand. Unless you've been in the shoes I've been in and been in the shoes that they're in right now, is everything you say is used against you as well. I had newspaper people coming up to me during the time from the moment of arrest for many years until he went to trial for those years that we were going through the process. And I always said the same thing, until someone shows me evidence that he is guilty, I'm going to support him because that's what I want him to do for me. If I was accused of something and I adamantly denied doing it, I wouldn't want my spouse to just walk away and abandon me and then I'm innocent and then he's gone. And so also understand that I was a stay-at-home mom with two very young children and I had no job. I had no means of support. I had a house that was, everything was dependent on him when it came to finances. Now, I took care of the house. I did the plumbing. I could take care of all of the repairs on a lot of the repairs. I cleaned, I laundried, I cooked, I fed. That was my part of the job, and I loved every minute of it. So you need to understand, if you can, that every family has their own way of doing things, but when you have a spouse that is either a 50-50 or a greater than provider for your home, even if you're working and you are and their kids are older than mine were, um, it still affects the dynamics and they still could lose their home because she may not be able to maintain it. She has maintained it while he's in prison, but doesn't mean she'll be able to continue. There is no child support for her. There is no assistance for her. She may be able to get on food stamps, but with her income, I doubt it. So this is a very difficult place for them to be. And so she's going to testify, not necessarily just for herself, but for her children. And I've been there. I testified in court. At that time, I believed his innocence because I had seen no evidence. Nobody showed me anything. Um, sometimes they'll show the evidence to the spouse. I did not get that. Hello, squeegee side of justice. Thank you for this, by the way. So, um, it's so easy to sit and say what ifs and shoulda, coulda, what ifs, but unless you've been in the shoes, it's a very difficult place to be. I don't think she's doing it so much to save her marriage as it is to save what little she can for her children as long as she can. My internet, we had a storm come through and blew me off for a minute, but we're going to continue.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Bye.
Well, and that's something too. I testified in my ex's trial, but they told me that I could be in there, but I shouldn't be in there because if I sit through the entire trial and then stand up to give testimony, the jury won't put as much weight on it. So they really all but demanded that I not be in there. So I stood outside the courtroom door and okay. And so what happened is that I later found out they were throwing me under the bus because they didn't want me in there. It was really bad. But anytime someone doesn't want their family in there and they're saying they're doing it to protect them, if they're minors, I agree. But if they're adults, I always question that. I question, why don't you want them in there? If you're innocent, why are you not wanting them to be in that environment? Um, so for me, I believe you're right on this. I believe he knows he's lying, and I believe that he didn't want them to see that. Ivy Berlin, welcome.
Why did you agree to talk to me today?
It was important for people to understand the deliberation process. I think some people believe it was so clear and open and shut that we should have been out of there in 2 to 4 hours. But it wasn't that way. We had the majority of the jurors at one point going in. We took the first vote, and it was 1 guilty AF, 6 guilty, 4 undecided, and 1 not guilty. So that's when we knew we had to zero in on the evidence and go through everything for those that had any doubt so that they could see exactly what
it
process. I think some people believe it was so clear and open and shut that we should have been out of there in 2 to 4 hours. But it wasn't that way. We had the majority of the jurors at one point going in. We took the first vote, and it was 1 guilty AF, 6 guilty, 4 undecided, and 1 not guilty. So that's when we knew we had to zero in on the evidence and go through everything for those that had any doubt so that they could see exactly what the evidence was pointing out. So then we went through that, and then we came back and took another vote. And so it was then, I think 8 guilty, and then the others not guilty. And so then we asked them what they needed to see to convince them from the evidence. So it was zeroing in on the Yukon Denali. We had someone on the jury who had experience on cars and said, a 2007 Denali you cannot rent. So Compass Realty could not rent one.
So someone believed the conspiracy?
They questioned it. They thought it was possible. They thought it was possible.
Okay, let's do this. I'm taking notes. Clark County District Court, Michelle can invoke a sentence enhancement because a killing was found to be used with a deadly weapon. Willful, deliberate. They could raise sales a minimum from 21 years to maximum 28 years. Oh, wow. Wow. How interesting. Who else spoke out? Do we know? Oh my gosh. Well, this is an interesting 1 guilty AF, 6 guilty, 4 questionable, and 1 not guilty. Then 8 guilty, 4 not guilty, but 1 was really hanging on to that NG to the end until it was decided. Yeah. So just because the popular opinion of the people was 96% not guilty, I mean 96 to 98% guilty. Oh wow, I didn't mean to. Whoa, what happened? Thank you. Y'all don't need to see the walls. Y'all don't need to see the walls. There we go. So, there were more. There was more, but we didn't capture it. Oh, darn it. Where did that interview come from? Wow. Can we find that interview? That will be interesting. The initial vote, but another poll, 8 guilty and the rest. Yeah. I find it, see, people don't, it's not always equal to the public opinion. Yeah, it's not always, it is not always in match with the public opinion. Here we go. I got it.
Investigator Kyle Payne has the first public interview with one of those jurors who says she and those 11 other jurors got it right. Kyle, what else did that juror say?
Right, Ozzy, one of the big things we're learning from this juror, at some point, the jury wrote a note telling the judge they were deadlocked. One juror wanted to acquit Robert Tellis, but as we know, they all ended up voting guilty. Do you think Robert Tellis got a fair trial?
He did, without a doubt. And the fact that he was allowed to do a narrative as a testimony makes it even more so that he received a fair trial.
Robert Tellis murder trial, juror number 6, asking the 8 News Now investigators not to use her name or show her face, preferring instead to let her 2.5 weeks of jury service do the talking.
I didn't kill Mr. Gurman.
Just like Tellis did for 3 days on the stand, explaining his theory that he was framed and making this assertion.
When the medical examiner testified, that's the first time I'd learned how Mr. Gurman was murdered.
Which juror number 6 simply couldn't believe.
Blatant lie.
But Tellis was convincing enough, perhaps, on the stand, and his defense attorney, Robert Draskevich, persuasive enough.
Metro makes mistakes.
That when the jury of 5 men and 7 women took its very first vote behind closed doors, 7 had Tellis guilty and 1 was absolutely certain of it. 4 were undecided and 1 thought Tellis was not guilty.
I was keeping an open mind. I had not made a decision.
Oh,
at that
he wasn't
point,
the
based
GF.
on the testimony and evidence
Yeah.
that had been presented. If I were to vote at that time, it would have been for guilty.
Then, as they reviewed the evidence and looked at this photo of someone in the murderer's dark red SUV,
look at the profile,
and saw a man that didn't look like Tellis because this driver had hair, they realized that hair was a shadow, and the vote changed. Now 8 jurors thought Tellis was guilty, and 4 not guilty.
He thought that he was smarter than everyone else. And so if he did all these things, no one would be able to point the finger of blame at him.
Another deep dive into the evidence, and this jury got closer to guilt, voting 10-2 to send Tellis to prison, which eventually all 12 agreed to do, using damning scientific evidence to make their verdict.
The evidence was not wrong. Our decision was based upon the evidence presented. He didn't question the evidence. He questioned the motive behind the evidence, was that he was being set up. But when your DNA is under the victim's fingernails, that's a clear signal as well.
Juror
DNA
number 6 tells me
clinched
they
it.
were split on whether to sentence Tellis to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But then Tellis's mother testified, saying she accepted the jury's verdict, but asked that he have a chance to see his children again. That convinced the jury to give Tellis the opportunity to one day see the light of day, Ozzy.
Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the highest standard in this country. It's not presumption, preponderance of the evidence. It's not clear and convincing. It's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. This concept was borrowed from the Old English common law. Our founding fathers thought that it'd be better to let 10 guilty men go free than to wrongfully.
Okay, not depending on the jurisdiction, she may have consulted with the attorneys outside of public court. I don't know the law in how that works, but I don't think she did anything against their rules. Yeah, he knew he was going to hear the word guilty. I'm not bringing them back in the courtroom, giving them Allen charge. They don't have to give the Allen charge the first time. If they come back and we're kind of deadlocked and they can say, well, please go back and try again. After a certain time or certain, if they came back again, then the Allen charge can be given, but not every state has an Allen charge. That's right. The DNA solidified it for them. And that was the clinching. The DNA under the fingernail, I think, is the clincher. You're right. Let's continue.
Convict an innocent person.
Okay, we don't need
Yeah,
to
what
watch
can you-
closing arguments. So, wow, we got to see it. We got to see the interview. Okay, so that clears it up for me. So, the hair situation, when they blew it up, they decided it was a shadow, or it could have been a hoodie. Although they didn't say that, I said that. True, Ada, I'm going from other trials where they usually have Allen charges. If they are, I thought they all had to have. No, it's jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And so, and they call it, they don't always call it an Allen charge. Sometimes they call it something different. But the important thing is that they may have sent a note. She may have contacted the attorneys, and she just may have said, please go back and deliberate some more. And see, we all thought it was a hoodie. It could have been. It could have been a shadow from the visor. It could have been a lot of things. The thing is they didn't believe it. And like I said before, that's right, the dynamite charge. Like I've said before, what people don't understand is that just because something's presented as evidence, the jury has the right to accept it as evidence or deny it as evidence. So they can sit there and say, okay, we disagree over this. If we take this piece of evidence off the table, what does the rest of the evidence tell us? And if the rest of the evidence is telling them, oh my goodness, my dear friend just brought me a Starbucks. Like I need any more coffee, but she did. So what happens with that is that you sit there and look at the rest of the evidence, and if that evidence can get you to innocent or guilt, they can do it that way. It is not vital that they take every piece of evidence because they choose what they believe or don't believe. Miss Linda, come on in. Unless my son brings it. So it's up to the evidence. It's up to what the jury chooses to believe. Hello, love. Oh, she wanted some loving from you. Look what I got. We have a dear friend who blessing me today. You don't want to be on camera, do you?
Sure, I'll say hello.
Oh, everybody. Squeeze. Now, this is Miss Linda. She's a good dear friend of mine.
Hello, everybody. What are we listening to today?
Oh, we're talking about Tellus, the one who ended the life of a reporter who wrote nasty stories about him, and he's a narcissistic jackass. And
So maybe he got what was due.
Oh well, yeah,
In a way.
in a way, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we're waiting to find out if he's getting. The jury said 20 years to life. The judge is gonna go up there, but everybody's saying hi.
Yeah, I'm a new fan now. Let's see, I got 2 hellos from C. Morales and K. Swan.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are having a good day. It's Monday and it's raining, and hang in and listen to Eat all day.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Blessings, love.
You're welcome.
Give Kathy my love.
I will. It's at the laundromat. Probably not very happy right now.
Oh, well, is there anything we can do to make her happy?
I can't. So.
Maybe I can come over tonight and do some watercolor. All right, bye. So look what she brought me. I'm so blessed. She knows how to get my number. She knows what my number is. And they're still saying hi to her. Yeah. She's an amazing friend. So so they pick and choose what evidence they believe and who they believe. They don't have to believe everything. And so obviously, oh, you are so right, my love. Y'all, some of you don't know my beloved. Come here, baby. Come here. Up, up. Come here. Sensei, here. Come here. Up, up. Up, up. Hi's a baby girl. Okay. Place. She is my service dog. She's my ears. Yes, I watercolor. Here you go, baby. She is my ears. She go 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 go. She sometimes I do watercolor live during trial. She is my service dog that was provided to me by Service Dogs Inc. because I'm totally deaf without my hearing aids. By the way, I forgot. I need to say this. We get so much of our documentation from Discord, from the group as the gavel drops. And please go and check them out. They are our partner in crime as we get a lot of our documentation from them. If you can go and join yourself, it is free. And you like to read documentations on things and get the inside scoop, you can go there. We also have a fabulous research team of our own who is headed up by our very own fabulous. Where is it? I got to find it. Where is it? Oh, come on. It's here somewhere. I know it is. Oh, I'm tired. Um, in a good way. In a good way. In a good way. Miss Ronnie. I want y'all to give a shout out to Miss Ronnie. She is our research manager. She has a team of fabulous, fabulous mods that do all the research for us and help provide documentation. We also have what we call our little what was it? Mm, trial fairy, I guess. I don't know what to call her. Information document fairy, research fairy. She's fabulous. Miss Ronnie, you are the best at and your team. Truth fairy, that's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, so I'm working. I was just playing. Here's some of my watercolors. Not that one. This is my daughter's favorite watercolor look. She likes animals doing human things. So I got little bubbles my hands covering. And here's my koi. So I do watercolor. My daughter's been begging me to give all that to her because she wants to put them in college, but I'm not done with them. I do a lot of things. I do Native American beadwork. I have gotten a little bit done. What I'm going to have to do, yes, I appreciate y'all keeping me on track. Unfortunately, because of the weather, the site that I need to go through is not up. The college that I go to is a couple of hours away and everything is down. They're having hail and awful rain. So we're good. We're good. I'll get it done. You stink at it? Well, just keep practicing. The trick is watercolor is learning the amount of ink with the amount of water. So just practice lines, get to know how much water you need to do certain things. It's interesting. Mm-mm. No, but I'm also a nighttime studier. I do better at night. So what I have done is, for those of you who don't know, I have gone through all the reading material and underlined what I need to go back and review. So I've done that. I make mud. Oh, I love cricket. I need someone to make me t-shirt. I want t-shirt. I want t-shirt. Yep. You do? Oh, no way you do? Where's my barrettes? Oh, so these are my mocks. They are made of buffalo. I have a full regalia, Mary Kay. I have full regalia. We need to connect, love. I am way behind. I'm making my drag and I'm way behind on my drag. Way behind on that. And I also am making my leggings for powwow. But this is my pattern that I do for everything, and this is the barrette. But yes, you will see me beating Mary Kay if you join me. This is, I have to be honest, this is not as good quality as a lot of other beaters because I just picked this up and did it. And so there's a lot of little mistakes. But one thing that's nice about Native Americans is mistakes are welcomed. Yep, mistakes are welcomed. So, now we have 38 of you here. I have set up a redirect because I had another live. I thought about joining the lives together, but then I noticed that people say, well, what? I didn't. Yeah, I got two different subjects. So we are going to go over to Miss Boone, which I was supposed to start at 1. And yes, must have a mistake in it. Only creator is perfect. So will all of you guys join me over at the next stream, which is Sarah Boone? And I do that because I have a foghorn I use for her. The reason is because we have exclusive information and documents that I don't think anybody else has yet. And if you remember yesterday, we released, I was so proud. We got through our little truth fairy all of her jail behavior notes. Now that has been shared with other creators and they are now reporting on it, but we've got some more information. So please, please redirect. It is there. I'm going to go live over there. If it doesn't, hop on over yourself. I am new at redirects, and most of you don't know. If you do, great. I have only been doing this a matter of a few months. I'm not as smooth as RA, but I'm going live on that site in 3, 2, and got to get the music on. 3, 2, 1.